Hi guys, I'm just with Camp Perspective, and I'm here with Brody. She's a very high anxiety, very high flighty dog. And here I want to talk about when dogs go under stress. Here, this is all environmental right now. She's not under any kind of commands. We have a train track behind us, which you'll probably hear. But she starts to get stressed out, and then we see her kind of tuck in her tail, a little fear response, and then she'll start to kind of book it. Perfect. So if I leave her to her own devices here, you can see how she's panting heavily. It's a nice cool day here. So it's not so much that she's hot, but she's just stressed about the environment. And then she's here for a 4-week boarding train. This is day 19. But if we leave her to her own devices, right, you can see how she tucks the tail in and then right away starts to pull. So she's going into a fear flight response. And I'm not doing anything here and letting her practice this behavior. So with remote collar, what this allows us to do is when the dog goes into this kind of fear flight response or any kind of stress response, we can get the dog to override by using the pressure of the collar. Now, of course, the collar has to be conditioned correctly. So we're 19 days in, as I said, to a 4-week boarding train. So she's had plenty of conditioning. But I want to demonstrate how the collar can get the dog to turn off those stress responses and then start to think a little bit more clearly here. So I'm going to walk again, allow her to do her thing. Okay. So here she's neutral, then she starts to go. All right. So I'm going to ignore her here. Right. She shuts down. So this is 15. Tap, tap, tap. Nothing. 20. Tap, tap, tap. Nothing. 25. Tap, tap, tap. A little bit of something. 30. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap. Good. Okay. So I'm at 30 out of 127 on the Dogtra Black Edition. So we start to, I don't know if the mic picked it up, but there starts to be some whining. That whining isn't pain or discomfort, it's frustration. Okay, because she's in a fear flight response. We can see how she's tucking away, so she's shutting down, tails under her or between her legs. But through the collar, the pressure of the collar, she's overriding her stress response, that fear flight response, and instead opting, in this case, to return to heel position. And this goes to show that with the remote collar, and when you're using it correctly, you condition it correctly, it can help the dog navigate through stressful situations. Her stress at the moment is environmental. Okay, we got a big loud train behind us. There's trucks that pass by, all that kind of stuff. The moment we go outside, she goes under stress. But we have the color on, it allows her to think as clearly as possible because we have something that can cut through all of that kind of chaos in her mind now. Okay, so here we're at 30. I'm going to start to apply some obedience. We're going to move this way. Yep. You're walking with me. Focus. A little bit of the wind. I'm going to go into this. Good. Begin the auto sit. Good. You don't want that. Yeah. Good. Okay, this is 30. This is 3-0. Then watch when I release her. Right. That's where stress started to go up. Right. So as soon as I release, we go back to that fear flight response. Okay. We go down a little bit. So 25. Tap. Tap. Good. Good. So you can see when she's not under command, when I give her the freedom, her stress response, her instinct to go, become fearful, flighty, anxious, becomes overwhelming. She wants to go, but as soon as I kick in with the collar, it is incentivizing her to suppress all those emotions and harness her behavior and just think a bit more clearly. Heel 25. Good. You can see how she's walking. A little bit of fearful with all this reflecting stuff and flowing here. Good, good. I'm gonna release again. Break. We'll walk a little bit so there's some hesitation from the corrections. Right, she's on break here. Break, break. She's holding still. Not required to do this, but because of the corrections to the collar, she's just self-containing. Good. And now under command, so if she wanders, that's perfectly fine. And then the behavior gets back in again. Because this is a part of who she is. Once she gets overwhelmed, all these things happen. Tap, tap, that's frustration. Tap, tap. Good. And then back to the control again. So we're cases. And again, we're 19 days into conditioning. Because the first 2 weeks were really difficult. Because her anxiety and her flightiness were through the roof, that we were like around 75, 80s to get her to really try to control her stress responses. And now that she's had, going 19 days of training, more conditioning, pressing her, working her past things, repeating, we're able to get her to tune in at a lower number. Good. Okay. This is the one thing that e-collar can do that other tools can't do. Yes, I'm using the collar to get her to do something, but she thinks she's the one doing it. Every other tool, like a prong collar or slip chain or even food, you're really doing a lot of the work for the dog. Yes, they'll decide to do something, but it's completely different when you're doing a remote collar. Okay. So now she thinks, well, if I go into fear flight response, this thing will turn on, it'll increase in pressure, but then the moment I confront my fear, my anxiety, my flightiness, whatever, and then do what I'm supposed to do, in this case, the heel, what have you, everything turns off. So then she has, okay, I can become fear flighty, but then this thing happens, and this is worse than the emotional stressor because this is physical. This is something that she actually feels, and this is what helps the dog override. Okay. Whether or not she'll get over her flightness of environmental when allowed to be on her own time will tell. This, 4 weeks is a blink of an eye in the length of a dog's life, but already making great progress. So now we're going to go on the short little heel here. Yep. Heel. When we deal with our dogs, we always be nice and relaxed. So a little bit of a speed up there. Good. You see her checking in with me. Nice and relaxed, slack leash. I don't want to have a tight leash like this. I want the dog to have the option to make mistakes that correct them. When we slow, the dog should slow. When we speed up, the dog should speed up. Good. Slow. Good. We stop. We get an auto scent. Good. This is okay. Heel. I care more that she's locking in than perfect heel position type stuff. When she sits, she has the habit of going back a couple of steps. It's fine. I always care about function, not so much aesthetic, especially when we're dealing with a behavior case like Brody here. Okay. So when we walk with her, we can walk with Brody for a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and she's going to hold that position. We just have the environmental challenges. So like a car, like the other day, a dumpster came by and it made a rattle. It kind of spooked her, but when I tapped her, she returned right back to what she was supposed to do. So this is helping her come back to passiveness or as close to normalcy as we can, despite the fact that she's an anxious, flighty dog in terms of the environment. Okay, so I'm just from a canine perspective. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time.